Hey everyone, welcome back to Installation 00. It's Wednesday, which means it's time to look at some weapons. So welcome back to the Armory, where all weapons from Halo lore will be featured and analysed in detail, and today we take an in-depth look at the Forerunners' answer for a shotgun, the Scattershot. Let's begin. The Z180 Scattershot, also known as the Z180 Close Combat Rifle Asymmetrical Engagement Mitigator, is a Forerunner energy weapon designed for close quarters combat. It was originally employed by Builder security forces during the Forerunner Flood War and has since been encountered by human forces within the UNSC. The Scattershot is a powerful channel weapon created to scour an enemy's presence from interior spaces. The weapon's direct blast usually decimates single opponents, but its schismatic dispersal effect is its most impressive feature, drowning confined spaces in a flurry of ricocheting beams, quickly clearing a room after breach. Scattershots were the preferred weapon of Builder security Thema guards, while recovering critical assets from flood-infested worlds or infiltrating hives to execute ancillars compromised by the parasite's logic plague. The Scattershot measures an impressive 115.5 centimeters or 45.5 inches in length, 10.7 centimeters or 4.2 inches in width, and 34 centimeters or 13.4 inches in height. The Scattershot features a sleek, angular Forerunner design incorporating glowing energy conduits and self-assembling mechanisms common to Forerunner weaponry. It fires hardlight bolts that can ricochet off of surfaces, allowing for indirect hits and maximizing damage potential in confined environments. Enemies killed by the Scattershot disintegrate into glowing particles, leaving no physical remains. The weapon was constructed in the Ferrarius Assembler Vats, with every single instance of the weapon constructed from a design seed and pattern that is then assembled using smart matter to create an exact copy of the original design to the atom. The Scattershot was a later design implementation of the Forerunners, being one of the last weapons designed before the war with the Flood came to a close with the firing of the array. It was favoured during the height of the Forerunner Flood War to protect builder-controlled installations and facilitate evacuations. It utilises hardlight technology to fire ionised particle bolts that disintegrate targets on contact, and is designed exclusively to deal with threats in close quarters, particularly in tight spaces like corridors and rooms, where ricocheting projectiles can maximise its effectiveness. The Scattershot fires large caliber slugs of ionised particles. The weapon receives 5 energy cells from a breech-loaded compartment, each providing the energy required to fabricate the ionised particle slugs. As with many other Forerunner weapons, the slug casing itself is constructed of hardlight, with the material within the round being ionised particles, which the weapon fabricates itself using the energy from its respective cells that are loaded into the weapon. The weapon itself converts this energy into ionised particles and hard light using electromagnetic radiation to add unstable quantities of electrons to the particles in question. Upon impact of these projectiles on a target, the packet will dissolve and the payload of ionised particles will be dumped violently into the target, causing a cascade of ionisation as the electrons dislodge from the payload and interact with the atoms of the target. A single shot is often sufficient to kill an opponent outright. However, the projectiles can also ricochet off of surfaces, allowing for indirect hits and maximising damage potential in confined environments, allowing for rapid clearing of tight spaces. A modified and repurposed form of the Scattershot's energy pellets are actually used by the scatterbound variant of the Heatwave weapon. No matter the particular application of these rounds, the effect is exactly the same: the entire disintegration of the target in question, proving immensely useful when combating the Flood to dissolve the Flood host body so that no new infection forms have any hosts to resurrect. It was likely not uncommon for Forerunners fighting the Flood to turn the weapon on their recently felled brethren to deny the Flood potential vessels. The Scattershot comes with at least 2 variants, one known as the Loathsome Thing, an enhanced version with increased damage, a faster rate of fire, and doubled magazine size of 10 rounds, and the Didact's Signet, a handcrafted variant by the Didact himself, featuring stronger, faster moving projectiles with enhanced tracking capabilities after ricochet, granting the weapon increased damage and range. The Scattershot is devastating at close range, capable of disintegrating enemies with a single shot. It does offer some leniency with aiming, as the spread increases the chance of hitting a target at close range, and compared to other close quarters weapons like the UNSC shotgun, the Scattershot can fire more quickly, allowing for faster follow-up shots. Bolts can also bounce off of walls, floors and ceilings, allowing you to hit enemies hiding behind cover or around corners. The Scattershot does have some disadvantages, only having 5 rounds per magazine with the standard version, requiring frequent reloads in prolonged engagements. And while the ricochet feature is a strength, it can also pose a danger, as stray bolts might harm allies or the user in tight quarters. Being a close-ranged weapon, its utility drops sharply in open areas where enemies can keep their distance, with the damage falling off significantly at medium and long ranges. The Scattershot is most effective in tight, close-quarters combat scenarios where its ricochet projectiles and high damage output can be fully utilised. However, its limited range and small magazine size make it a situational weapon that requires careful positioning and timing. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, kindly tap that like button, and if you're not already subscribed and want to see more stuff like this, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss future uploads. Pop a comment down below telling me what you thought of today's video, or if you want me to cover something specific in the near future. I want to take this opportunity to thank and give shoutouts to my patrons and YouTube supporters: Spartan10148, my singular Contender class Ancilla, the triumvirate of mines within my installations Metarch, Falcon, Jordan and Poseidon, my 7 installation monitors Selphia, Ashley, Esoteric, Spartan1029, Chris, Orion and Shane, the crush of sub-monitors Legion, Ryan, Lebrat, Spartan0137, Element 0, J3, Cult, Evermore's, Personal Devil, Scion Esports, Phantasma, Ashton and 191 Shaken Lightbulb, my fleet of Strato Sentinels, my most loyal of Enforcers, and every single one of the awesome people supporting the channel over on Patreon. My Tier 0 Transcendent YouTube members Spartan137, again, Maury, Jimbo and Balaz, and all other YouTube members keeping my installation functional on that glorious vacuum energy. I cannot thank you all enough. Shout out to John because... And if you like what I'm doing here, consider supporting the channel on one of the support links in the description to net yourself some tasty merch and help keep the channel going. Take it easy everyone, and find peace in the domain.